Right now, there are uh, probably millions of golfers standing on driving ranges just hitting a massive
Oh,
slice.
absolutely. Millions.
And, they're all trying to fix it by just swinging further and further to the left.
Which is just about the worst thing you can do.
Right, because they're contorting their bodies, changing their posture, just like desperately trying to force the club on a completely different path. And mathematically speaking, they are literally guaranteeing that their slice is only going to get worse.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed disaster.
So welcome to this deep dive into premium golf performance. Our mission today is to shatter what might be, honestly, the single most common, deeply ingrained myth in all of sports science.
It really is a pervasive one.
We are breaking down the illusion that your swing path dictates your ball's curvature.
Uh-huh.
Specifically, that archaic idea that an out-in club path just has to slice to the right and an in-out path must hook to the left.
Yeah, that assumption right there is the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
Muddy waters. I like that.
Well, because it is. The idea that your club path relative to the target line is what dictates your ball flight. It isn't just slightly off base. It's fundamentally incomplete.
Meaning you're only looking at half the picture.
Exactly. Relying on that single data point is the primary reason players spend years tweaking their swing mechanics. And, they never actually see a sustained improvement in their ball flight.
I mean, we've all been there. You watch your ball slice violently off into the trees on the right, and the immediate instinct, your brain just says, swing more from the inside.
Right, or swing more to the left to compensate.
Yeah, exactly. Swing left to make the ball go left. It feels like basic engineering, right? But then you make that change, and somehow, amazingly, the ball still curves off into the woods.
Sometimes even deeper into the woods.
Exactly. And it feels like the basic laws of physics are just broken.
But the thing is, the physics are working perfectly. The problem is entirely the human interpretation of the impact.
So we're just reading the collision completely wrong?
Precisely. Diagnosing your shot shape purely by looking at the direction your club is traveling, it completely ignores the single most critical factor of the collision.
Which is what?
Well, when you only look at the path, you are only looking at half of the equation. You're leaving out the primary catalyst for the actual spin.
Okay, so if my swing path isn't the primary culprit for my slice, my instinct is to assume it has to be like where on the club face I'm hitting the ball.
Ah, strike location.
Yeah, like if I hit it off the toe or the heel, that's what's sending it into the next fairway.
Right. Well, strike location is definitely a piece of the puzzle, and we will absolutely dive into the physics of that a little later, but it is not the foundational metric.
It's not the root cause.
Right. To really understand why a ball curves, we first need to define the baseline measurements of impact. And everything, absolutely everything, starts with your target line.
Okay, so draw a line for me.
Imagine a perfectly straight line from your golf ball directly to your target. A value of 0 degrees means a metric is perfectly square or parallel to that specific target line.
So 0 degrees is just a perfectly straight laser beam line to the pin.
Exactly. Now, the first variable we measure against that 0-degree line is what we call club path.
Okay.
This is simply the horizontal direction the center of gravity of the club head travels through the impact zone.
The horizontal direction.
Right. So for a right-handed golfer, a negative club path indicates movement to the left of the target line. That's your classic out-to-in swing.
The one everybody tries to fix.
Yes. And a positive club path indicates movement to the right of the target line, which is your classic into-out swing.
Okay, so that's just the physical trajectory of this chunk of metal at the end of the shaft moving through space.
Spot on. But the second, and honestly often neglected measurement, is the clubface angle.
Which sounds obvious, but it's really not.
No, it's not. This describes the precise direction in which the flat part of the club face is pointing at the exact millisecond of maximum compression against the golf ball.
So not before impact, not after, but exactly when the ball is squished against the metal.
Yes, the absolute moment of truth. A negative club face angle means the face is pointing left of the target, and a positive angle means the face is pointing right.
Okay, so we are tracking two completely independent variables that are happening in a fraction of a second. The direction the club head is traveling and the direction the face is actually pointing.
Right. And tying those two variables together is what gives us the true master of ball curvature, a metric we call face-to-path.
Face-to-path.
Yes. This is a relative relationship. You are no longer comparing your club to the target line out on the fairway. You are comparing the club face directly to the club path itself.
So you completely ignore the target line for this part.
Exactly. The critical question is not whether your club is moving left or right of the target. The question is, where is the club face pointing relative to the direction the club is actually moving?
Okay, wait. I think I have a way to visualize this for you guys listening.
Oh, let's hear it.
Think of the club path like a car driving down a highway, but the club face angle is where the headlights of that car are pointing.
Oh, I like this.
So your car might be drifting into the left lane, right? That's your club path moving left. But the headlights could be pointed sharply to the right.
Exactly.
So the relationship between the direction the car is physically driving and the direction those headlights are pointed, that is what dictates the spin axis of the golf ball.
That is a brilliant analogy. Honestly, it perfectly captures it because the car's direction and the headlight's direction, they are completely independent variables.
But people assume they're tied together.
Right. A lot of golfers just assume the headlights always face the exact direction the car is driving. But at the speeds we are talking about in a golf swing, that is rarely the case.
Almost never the case for amateurs.
Exactly. So let's look at how this plays out mathematically, just to prove why the conventional wisdom is so flawed.
Walk us through a real-world scenario. Let's take that classic out-to-in swing that everybody assumes is the universal cause of a bad slice.
Okay, let's do the math. Let's assume your club path is moving 2 degrees to the left of the target line.
Okay, so an out-to-in path. The car is driving into the left lane.
Right. Now, let's say your club face angle is pointing 6 degrees to the left of the target line.
So both the path and the face are pointing left.
Yes. If your path is moving 2 degrees left, but your face is pointing 6 degrees left, the math is simple. The face is pointing 4 degrees further left than the path is traveling.
What you mean?
The face is effectively close to the path. So for a right-handed golfer, because the face is pointing left of the target, the ball is going to start left.
Makes sense.
But because the face is closed relative to the path, it creates a spin axis that curves the ball even further to the left.
Wait. That feels completely backward compared to traditional driving range advice.
I know, it really does.
I mean, I am swinging to the left and my club face is pointing left.
Yeah.
But instead of hitting a slice to the right to compensate, I am hitting a massive pulling hook further to the left.
It completely upends the old school rules. The club is traveling left relative to the target, sure, but it is actually traveling to the right relative to the direction those headlights are pointing.
Oh, wow.
And that relative difference is what creates the curvature. This proves mathematically that an out-to-in path does not dictate a slice. The curvature is created entirely by the club face position relative to that path.
Okay, so does it work the exact same way for an in-to-out swing? Like the swing path everybody tries to learn because they think it absolutely guarantees a beautiful draw.
It works exactly the same way. And honestly, it routinely breaks the hearts of golfers who are desperately trying to hit a draw.
Break it down for us.
Say your club path is 5 degrees to the right of the target line, so in to out. But your club face angle is pointing 8 degrees to the right.
Okay, so the face is pointing 3 degrees further to the right than the pass is actually moving.
Exactly. The face is 3 degrees open to the path. So even though you have a textbook draw path, swinging out to the right, your face is open relative to that path.
Meaning the ball doesn't draw.
Right. The ball will start to the right and then curve even farther to the right, resulting in a brutal block fade or a push slice.
Which is just devastating when you think you finally got the path right.
It completely ruins the idea that an in-to-out path automatically creates leftward curvature.
Man, if the math proves that path alone doesn't dictate shot shape, giving someone generic swing advice based purely on where the ball ends up, that is incredibly dangerous.
It is worse than dangerous, honestly. It reinforces terrible mechanics.
Guess so.
Well, if a golfer is out on the course curving the ball to the right, a playing partner should never, ever automatically tell them to swing more from the inside.
Because they might already be doing that.
Exactly. They might already be swinging from the inside. They just have an open club face relative to that specific path.
That's like overcorrecting a skid in a car. You think you're turning away from the hazard, but you're actually just steering harder into the problem.
Yes.
So like, if a player is hitting a pull hook from an out-to-in path with a closed face, and you tell them to swing further left to fight the hook,
you are going to destroy their swing.
really, destroy it.
Oh, absolutely. Asking that player to move their path farther left makes the impact relationship even more extreme. The face becomes even more close to the path, and that hook just gets more violent.
Which is why they just get frustrated and quit.
Exactly. This is why premium golf instruction relies on a very specific 7-step diagnostic protocol. You have to isolate the variables before you ever try to change them.
Okay, let's dive into this protocol. Because you and I, we need to know how the pros actually diagnose a swing flaw without just guessing on the range.
Absolutely.
So what is step one?
Step 1 is identifying the ball's starting direction, completely independent of where it ends up.
Just where it launches.
Right. And step 2 is identifying the direction of curvature.
Okay, wait, let me pause you right there. How do I practically separate those two things on a public driving range? Because sometimes it all happens so fast, it just looks like one big, ugly curve to me. I don't have a $20,000 launch monitor sitting behind me to spit out the data.
It is entirely possible to do this visually without any expensive tech.
Really? How?
The best method is to just place an alignment stick in the ground a few yards in front of you, directly on your target line.
Okay, simple enough.
When you hit the ball, pay attention to which side of the stick the ball starts on. That is your starting direction.
Just a binary left or right of the stick?
Yes. And then, once the ball passes the stick, just watch which way it bends. That separates the initial start from the resulting curve.
Oh, that is incredibly practical. I love that. Okay, so what are steps 3 and 4?
Step 3 is determining the club face angle, and step 4 is determining the club path.
And again, I'm assuming you don't need a radar system for this.
Not at all. For face angle, you just have to remember that the ball almost always starts very close to where the face is pointing.
So if it starts right of the stick, the face was open.
Exactly. If your ball started right of your alignment stick, your face was open. For club path, you can use, slow motion video apps on your phone. Or honestly, simply look at your divots.
Your divot tells the truth.
Always. If your divot points left of your target line, you have an out to in path.
Okay, so that brings us to step 5, which is calculating the face-to-path relationship to figure out why the ball is curving.
Right. And step 6 is confirming the strike location on the club face, which is the massive wild card we will discuss in just a moment.
Okay.
And finally, step 7 is determining which variable actually needs to change based on all that data.
Okay, let's stick on step 5 for a second, the face-to-path calculation.
Sure.
Because, subtracting angles from angles while I'm sweating in the sun on the range, it feels a little abstract. The car and headlights analogy is great for understanding the concept, but is there a way to visualize the actual physical strike without having to do algebra in my head?
Yes, there is. The sources actually offer a fantastic alternative visualization for this. If face-to-path feels too abstract, you can flip the perspective and look at it as path to face.
Path to face, okay. How does that work?
It describes the exact same physical impact, just from a reversed angle.
So flipping the camera around.
Exactly. Instead of looking at where the face is pointing relative to the path, you look at how the club head is physically moving across the face orientation.
Oh, okay. This sounds exactly like hitting a slice in ping pong or tennis.
Yes. Perfect comparison.
Right, because when you are standing at a ping pong table, trying to put side spin on the ball, you aren't calculating negative face angles.
No, nobody does that.
You are just visualizing your paddle swiping across the back of the ball. Path to face tells you exactly which way that swipe is happening.
That is the absolute perfect way to visualize it. If your club head is moving across the ball from the inside to the outside relative to where the face is pointing, it produces one spin direction.
Right.
And if it's swiping across from the outside to the inside, it produces the opposite spin direction.
That makes so much sense.
Seeing it as the club head swiping across the back of the ball is just incredibly intuitive. It completely removes the confusion of target lines and math, and it just brings it back to a physical, athletic motion.
Yeah, the ping pong swipe visualization is a total game changer. But we can't ignore the wild card you brought up earlier in step 6 of the protocol.
Strike location.
Yeah. Why does hitting the ball slightly off the center of the face throw all this beautiful math we just talked about completely out the window?
It comes down to a physical phenomenon called the gear effect.
The gear effect.
Yes, face-to-path is the primary factor influencing curvature, but it assumes a perfectly centered strike.
Which, let's be honest, is rare for most of us.
Exactly. When you use a driver or a fairway wood, striking the ball off the center of the face introduces a completely new set of physical forces that can override your swing path entirely.
Okay, break down the mechanics of that for me. Why does hitting, say, the toe of the club change the spin?
Well, think about the club head as a heavy object with a center of gravity floating somewhere inside it.
Okay.
When you strike the golf ball on the toe of the club, the impact force pushes against that outer edge. Because the force is off-center, it physically twists the club head open around its center of gravity during that tiny millisecond of impact.
Oh, wow. So the impact itself is physically forcing the club face to point further, right?
Yes, but that is only half of the gear effect.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. During that fraction of a millisecond, the golf ball is heavily compressed against the grooves of the club face. They're practically meshed together.
Like gears.
Exactly like gears. When the toe strike twists the club head open to the right, it acts exactly like two interlocking gears turning against each other. If the club head gear twists to the right, it physically forces the golf ball gear to spin to the left.
Wow. So the club twists right, which physically grinds against the ball and imparts a spin axis to the left, which creates a draw.
Exactly. The twisting motion physically alters the ball's spin axis. So a strike on the toe of a driver will automatically create additional draw curvature to the left.
Which means a heel strike does the opposite.
Precisely. A strike on the heel of the club pushes the club head closed, twisting it to the left. That gear action spins the ball to the right, adding fade curvature.
This is wild. This means I could deliver the club perfectly square to my path.
Yeah.
I could have zero swipe across the ball, expecting a perfectly straight, beautiful shot.
Yep.
But because I hit it just half an inch toward the heel, the club twists, the gears mesh, and it just fades off to the right.
You could produce a face-to-path relationship that should normally create a draw, and yet watch the ball fade into the rough purely because of off-center contact.
That is maddening.
It really is. And this is exactly why you cannot analyze a ball's flight without confirming where it hit the face.
How do you do that easily?
You can use foot spray, or even just dry erase markers on your club face at the driving range. Without knowing your strike location, you are highly likely to misinterpret why the ball curved in the first place.
And start making swing changes you don't actually need.
Exactly. You'd be trying to fix your path when all you needed to do is stand half an inch closer to the golf ball.
This is exactly why digging into the underlying science is so important. The conventional wisdom is just peeling back one layer of the onion, and there's an entire physics engine running underneath it.
A very complex physics engine.
So let's synthesize this whole journey. If there are 3 unbreakable laws of impact you want to walk away with today, how do we distill this for the listener?
We can lay out 3 central principles that will serve every golfer, from absolute beginner to professional. Law number 1. Target relative path tells you the club head direction.
Okay, so it simply tells you where the club is traveling in space.
Right. Law number 2. Target relative face angle strongly influences your starting direction.
Meaning, where the club face is pointing is generally where the ball is going to start its journey.
Exactly. And law number 3, face to path, or that ping pong swipe across the back of the ball, explains the primary curvature.
So the deciding factor is always the relationship between the path and the face at impact.
Always.
And for final clarity, we can put the myth in the ground once and for all. An out-to-in path does not equal a slice, and an int-out path does not equal a draw.
The physical reality of impact simply does not support that assumption. Never has.
Okay, so as we wrap this deep dive up, what is the final provocative thought for us to mull over? You always have one last thing to leave us with that twists our perspective.
I do, and this one is pretty crucial. This comes directly from a critical note in our sources about measurement conventions, and it applies to literally anyone trying to use technology to improve their game.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've talked a lot today about negative numbers meaning left and positive numbers meaning right. But here is the terrifying reality for the modern golfer. Different launch monitors, phone apps, and simulators use entirely different plus-minus sign conventions.
Wait, really? Left isn't a universal negative?
Not across the board, no. Some brands use negative for left, others use positive for left. Some systems even present the data differently depending on whether you are right-handed or left-handed.
Oh my God.
So my provocative question is this. How many amateur golfers are out there right now, standing in an expensive indoor simulator or looking at a launch monitor at their local golf shop, completely misreading their data?
They are looking at a positive number on their phone app, assuming it means their path is moving right, and it actually means the exact opposite on that specific piece of software.
Yep. They might be actively training the exact wrong physical correction into their swings for months, simply because they didn't check the measurement convention of the machine they are using.
That is a brutal thought. You could be grooving a terrible habit, steering the car directly into a ditch, just because you didn't read the manual on the launch monitor.
Always know your machine's conventions.
Always. And this brings us right back to where we started. Standing on the range, looking for precision, and realizing that if you don't understand the physical mechanisms,
So the relationship between the path and the face.
right, the car and the headlights,
Yeah.
the gears twisting at impact, if you don't understand that, you are just guessing in the dark.
The biomechanical reality of impact never changes, but your understanding of it changes absolutely everything about how you perform.
If you found today's episode valuable, please subscribe to our channel. Every subscription helps us continue producing high-quality educational content for golfers and coaches worldwide. If you have a question, topic idea, or golf challenge you would like us to research, test, and explain, please leave a comment. Contact us on LinkedIn or send us an email. Don't forget to explore the eCoach 360-degree Golf Intelligence platform and experience our 48-hour free trial. You can also join our 30-day Golf Biomechanics, Kinematics, Ground Reaction Forces, and Club Kinematics certification program to deepen your understanding of golf performance.